Okay, you see the leaf coming through from my plant. So let me just go ahead. And we want to get that plant out of the way. Okay, so welcome, my loves. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to remember who I am in this time, and I am so happy that I am able to share this information with you along your journey so you can help to unlock, activate, clarify, confirm, inspire, and motivate you on your internal journey, right? Because your internal world is going to produce your external world, okay? I want to be very transparent because I was told by my guys that moving forward I need to do this, all right? So not only am I going to give you my disclaimer, but I'm also going to set an intention for all of my messages moving forward. My intentions is to speak clearly, coherently, okay? My intention is also to make sure that I'm bringing forth truth, okay? My intentions is also to make sure that anything that I am transmuting to you, okay, is for your greatest and highest good. There is no judgment here. There may be analyzing patterns, analyzing systems, and maybe seeing where distortion is, right? But there's no judgment. There's only truth and being able to see past distortions here, okay? Everything I say to you, please take it upon yourself to study to show thy own self approved, okay? Truth does not need any type of external validation, okay? Because it's going to produce external verification, okay? I'm gonna say that again. Truth does not need validation because it is going to produce verification, okay? So as you're walking through this process, I want you to know that it is important for you to be patient with yourself. You need to be able to trust the waiting process and know that everything is coming together, all right? You also want to get in a place or in a position where you pull the strings that control your own life. That's what the energy is saying here. As well as let your true colors show so your tribe knows how to find you, all right? We're now stepped into what is called the Quasi era. And in this era, everything is not so much about vibration or frequency, right? It's more about resonance, okay? You need to be mindful of that because that in which you resonate or pulsate on is what you're going to be pulling to you or extracting from you, okay? So that's the breath work. You're either breathing in or breathing out, okay? So you're resonating whether it's toxicity or positivity, all right? Just know that you're going to be pulling into you and pushing out, okay, your true essence, okay? Let me just maybe not call it your true essence, because when you're tapped into your true essence, you understand that you are connected to everything. You are connected to everyone. That's where true compassion can begin to come in and be used as a tool to help, okay? There's so many things that I have to explain to you guys in this era. And today, I was really going to come on here live and get up in the chat with you guys and interact. And a message came through, okay? And I had to sit with that message today. And as I sat with the message that came in today, my question then back to my guys is, how do I transmit this message, right? With clarity, with coherence, with love and truth, okay? Without overwhelming anyone, okay? I need instructions of how to go about bringing this information to you guys so you're not overwhelmed, all right? So you have clear and concise steps on how to navigate this energy, all right? One of the reasons that really stopped me from coming on tonight is because I was able to receive some soul information from my lineage, past life lineage today. And can I just say that I had to sit with that information all day because it made my jaw drop. You know when you can sense something in your spirit, because you just know things that you shouldn't, or you just understand things that you've never been to school for, like deep things, quantum things, maybe electrical things, maybe, whatever it is. Okay, maybe you just know how to bake certain things. Whatever gift you have, there's just certain innate things. Working with herbs, pinpointing energy in people's body, doesn't really matter. Just things that we would call maybe supernatural or gifts in this season, right? That you have, that you're not quite sure how you got these gifts. You don't know how you know how to do these things, but you know how to do these things. Okay. Today, I received some information about myself that made so much sense. That made so much sense as to why all of these things are being unlocked at this time. But one of the main things that came out, right, that I needed to be clear about was how do I bring these transmissions out to you guys without overwhelming you, where I can activate you or help activate you, really, okay, as well as give you the steps, okay? Now, it's interesting that this message is even coming out the way that it's coming, right? Clarity is one of the things that you need to be able to stand in this energy, okay? So if you're undecided or if you're wavering, right, just know that you're not going to be receiving clear experiences, okay? So your experiences are going to be, so let me give you an example. If you want to have a healthy relationship, right? You want love to come in. You want to have an amazing relationship because you've dated a few people, maybe been married before, or maybe just a frequency that's being put out here right now is like, there's no good relationships out here. People are just fucked up. People don't know what they want. People are, narcissists. Like, there's so many different vibrations coming on over here, right? Coming on out in the world today and coming in to your inner being, right? So if your inner being has been resonating, okay, now we're talking about resonating. We're not talking about frequency, which you attuned to, right? We're talking about you in your heart have been tuning in to, you cannot have a relationship that's healthy and happy because men ain't no good, women ain't no good, or you tried it before, you can't trust people, or whatever you've been looping to yourself, okay? If you don't get clear within yourself to know that there is a person for you, there are good people out here, there are kind people out here, there are men and women that want to have successful relationships, and not just successful relationships, but they also want to have healthy relationships, healthy friendships with healthy boundaries, right? There's a tribe of people out here that's sending out the same beacon that you're sending out, right? There's always someone sending out the same beacon that you're sending out, whether that beacon is of love, whether that beacon is of toxicity, whether that beacon is of joy, whether that beacon is of insecurities, it doesn't matter. There's always somebody sending out a beacon that can match your beacon, okay? Your thoughts or your feelings, okay? When I'm calling beacons, it's really your thoughts or your feelings about a thing, about a person, about a situation. There's always somebody that you can find that can co-sign, okay, wherever you stand on a particular matter, all right? What's important is that you need to be clear on where you're standing. It can't be wishy-washy, okay? Right? So if you're being patient and you're trusting and you're waiting and knowing that everything is coming together, when things are not apparent in the physical the way that you expect them to come together, you can't be wishy-washy that ain't no good man, ain't no good jobs, ain't no money. The world is collapsing, the economy's gonna fall, right? You cannot stand in the economy's gonna fall, you're not gonna find no job, you don't have no money, ain't no good men, it ain't no good women, you're not gonna be ready for retirement, you're not gonna be ready for the kids' college, whatever it is that you're trying to get to the final destination of, you're trying to have that experience, but there's some unclarity here, there's some unsettledness within you, right? You need to get really clear about where you stand on your position in the things in your life. You need to get really clear about that. You need to get really clear about you. Even if you're not clear about nobody else, okay? You need to get really clear about you, because truth, once again, does not need anything externally to validate it, but you will get verification from the external sources. Check your fucking friendships. Check your partnerships. Check your relationships and see where you are standing in truth or where you're not standing in truth. Okay? Truth don't need anybody to come in and validate it for you. Truth is a resonance. Truth is something that can be felt. It doesn't necessarily have to be heard externally. It's a resonance. But when truth is heard externally, it's a sound that does not need any validation. It only comes through with verification, baby. And whether that truth is they lied to you, but you still holding on to that, so therefore every experience after that, people has been lying to you. Whether that truth is you can't trust nobody, right? So everybody that comes into your experience, you can't trust them. Whether that truth is you are fucking amazing, and even on your worst day, you were still amazing, right? Guess what? That truth is going to show up. Even on your worst day, you're still amazing. Some external validation is going to show up in your experience to remind you of how fucking amazing you are. Especially in the day when you feel like you're at your worst. That's one of my mantra. When I meet people, especially people in relationships, I'll let you know, even on my worst day, I'm fucking amazing because I am. Even in my worst day, I choose to move first in love than in revenge, than in hate, than in anger. Now, the trick about that is we're going to be learning about compassion too, because the world has flipped compassion upside down. Compassion don't have nothing to do with pettiness. Compassion don't have nothing to do with control. Compassion don't have anything to do with being better than anybody else. And these are some of the umbrellas that we fit compassion under that don't have nothing to do with compassion. So we're going to talk about that in another video. Not this one right here now. Because right now we're talking about truth. Truth does not need external validation, but you will receive external verification. Okay? So the question is, what truth do you have going on internally that's not even your fucking truth? And let me just say, truth can be subjective to depending on who you're talking to. This is why it's important for you to be patient. Know that everything is coming together. You need to be the one pulling your own strings so you're controlling your life. Because as you do that, your true tribe, they're going to show up, baby. The people that's vibrating in the same truth that you are, they're going to show up. They're going to be there. They're going to be your verification on the truth that you stood on within you. Let me say that again. Truth is going to show up externally through your tribe, the people, your relationships, your exchanges with people, your experience. They're going to show up externally as verification to validate your truth coming from within. If you are constantly meeting nobody but manipulators, especially if you're an empath, I am speaking to you because I'm called to speak to empath. It's time for you to wake up. You're going to have to start discerning energy. You're going to have to start asking yourself, why do I keep attracting manipulators? What part of my life am I not pulling the strings and controlling my life that I might be manipulating people? So that truth within me is showing up externally through validation. That truth in me is being validated internally and is showing up in verification externally. If you're a kind person, right? Kindness is always going to meet you on this journey. If you're a nasty person, guess what? Nastiness is going to meet you on this journey. If you're a messy person, guess what? Messiness is going to meet you on this journey. Everything is a reflection. What are you reflecting back to you? So, you know how you sit and you have conversations with yourself, and sometimes these conversations that you have with yourself, especially if you're doing the deep dive work, honey, some of these conversations with yourself will just leave you speechless when you got to go sit. You got to go sit with yourself for a while. You got to go sit with yourself for a while. I was having a conversation with Kelley earlier today, and We were talking about something, but I don't remember what we were talking about exactly. But I remember what I said, right? Because we were going from one thing to the next. But I remember passing this comment earlier today in our conversation. I said, I have been learning, especially now that I've been back online. It's kind of like I thought I had a lot of downloads and uploads and awakenings and activations. I did, right, while I was on it. My soul's journey away from you guys for the past 3 years, right? I thought I had notebooks full of stuff to come back and share, and what I am realizing as I'm back, this has to be shared in a particular order because it's important in which the order is shared. Right. It's important in what order is shared. That's number one. Number two is sitting out on my backyard today, speaking to Kelley Kells. I said this to her. I've realized that what I'm supposed to be doing is creating space for people to have whatever experience they want to have, even if I'm not partaking in that experience. Let me repeat that. What I have learned is that part of my journey is to create space for other people, right? For them to have, even if I'm not residing in that space with them. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. Right? So, do you know anybody in your, let's just say you come home from work, and let's just say, your spouse works from home. And you come home from work and you had a pretty good day. You're tired, you're excited, but you're willing to, and you're ready to share your day with your partner. And you want to hear what what their day was like, right? And they work from home, and maybe you step in and their day has ran a little longer than your day, so they're not quite done with their day yet. And once they get done with their day, right, they come in and they greet you, and you notice that your partner has a little bit of attitude, or their energy is off a little bit, right? It don't feel pleasant like it usually does, because usually when you get home, they've been off for about an hour, so they get to decompress before you get in, and then you guys, cook dinner, make dinner together, you do your thing together, right? But there's always a vibe of maybe unpacking and asking each other how the day went, okay? Let's say, like I said, you got home, your partner had to work an extra hour over, so now that me time that they didn't have that anymore. You come in and you want to talk and you excited and you want to unpack and you want to download, but your partner is stinky as fuck. I mean, like, they damn stinky as fuck. Downright, like, the tone, the energy, they just stinky. They just absolutely stinky, right? And you may get in your little feelings because you didn't do nothing. I've been going all this shit. I was looking forward to coming home and hanging and chilling and, kissing and loving in my boo and unpacking and seeing what happened. But your attitude is stink as fuck. Like, I don't even want to be around this. I could go take me a walk or something, go out in nature and shit and get more love at this point, right? Do you know that your partner has the right to embody that energy if they have to? And you have the right absolutely not to take none of that shit personal. You can create the space for your partner to have that, right? To have that stinky energy and that nasty attitude. But you don't have to share that space. So come on. What do you mean that they can have that stinky attitude and I don't have to share their space? Let me break this down to you, okay? Every decision that you make, whether it's in, especially, let me just put it out this way, okay? Every decision that you make, from thought of a decision within your mind, to a decision within your emotions, to a decision within your action, is going to produce a future experience, okay? Now, I'm going to start with that. Let me say that again. Every decision that you make, whether it is in thought form, emotional form with your emotions, or action form, okay, it is going to produce an outcome. You're going to have some type of experience from that. There's going to be some type of outcome, okay? So we're dealing with the four elements here. We pinpoint that because you need to understand how how this energy is flowing, right? I already taught you guys. Air means your thinking. Water means your emotions and your intuitiveness and your creativity. Okay. Fire, your action and movement. Okay. Earth, that would be your physical manifestation or the denser things, your job, that type of stuff, right? Creating the space for your partner is simply being able to allow them to have the space to be stinky, to be nasty, while you excuse yourself. And sometimes excusing yourself does not necessarily mean that you get to physically not share walls with that person, right? Because we went through this before, right? Space and walls, two different things. You may have to share walls with somebody, a building, a car, right? An elevator, an airplane. Those are walls. You may have to share walls with someone, but you don't have to share space with everybody. You don't. Okay? You don't. Okay? Space can be boundaried with in your emotions, in your thoughts, in your actions, which is going to produce the experience. Well, come on. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? So you're saying that I don't have to take it personally, that they were snappy and they yelled at me? You could, but really, no, the fuck you don't. No, the fuck you don't. So let me give you an example, okay? You do not know what other people is going through at any given moment. So you give the space for that person to have that outburst. You give the space for that person to feel depressed, whatever it is. They should have the right to experience whatever emotions and thoughts they want to experience freely. You should not be pulling anybody's fucking strings. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you how you can give somebody space and still be in the same walls with them. Now, this is kind of where compassion comes into and how you want to move with this, because there's levels to this shit, right? Some people will just be like, all right, you being bitchy, I'm out. Okay? A partner that's really tuned in, or someone that really loves you, a friend that really loves you, a husband that really loves you, a wife that really loves you, right? They are going to take some time to get to know how you move, right? So there are two ways you can handle this, okay? Two ways. How you can handle space. First thing is you allow first compassion with yourself. Because compassion with yourself is going to let you know that you don't have to sit and take anybody energetic abuse. You don't have to take anybody energetic abuse. That's the first thing. Okay? The second thing is you want to read the fucking room. Okay? So, we're going to read the room. How do you read the room? Okay, I'm finna explain to you how to read the room. All right? You walk in the room, your partner is angry, they're irritated, and they're snappy. You also know that your partner did not get off an hour earlier like they normally do. Right? Because why? They had to do the overtime and the call. And usually when they get off an hour prior to that, they have the time to download within themselves. They don't have nobody in the house. They can unwind. So by the time that you get home, they've had enough adequate time to themselves. So you now notice that they did not have that adequate time to themselves. Okay? So that's also you being able to read the room to know, like, okay, well, this don't really have nothing to do with me. She usually gets to, kind of decompress after work, and here it is, they have not decompressed yet. Is this what it looks like when my partner is not decompressed? Now you're reading the room, okay? Now you're reading the room. Okay, so they haven't decompressed yet. Babe, I know you just got off, like, right now, and you didn't really get the time to, navigate the day and maybe even kind of think to yourself or for yourself about, anything. Like, you just been going. How about, like, you just take a 5-minute break, maybe go take a shower. Let me get dinner together. Maybe pour you a glass of wine, right? So you don't feel so stressed. I'm going to create the space for you where you could just go ahead and be. You don't even have to interact with me right now, You don't even, babe, you don't even have to worry about dinner. Matter of fact, do you want me to order you something to eat? if you know, like, so even if you can't do the ordering and eat something, do you want me to pour you a glass of wine? Do you want some water? Do you need some time? Because I can see clearly, right, that you have not decompressed it. That will give your partner an opportunity, one, to change the stinky energy immediately, right? And fall back into a space of safety and love where you can unpack, right? Or that can give your partner the opportunity to make a decision to take the time out so they can recalibrate. That's how healthy shit is done, right? See, there is also a decision that you can make where you share the space with that person, right? Because they got a stinky attitude. Now you can respond in that same space. Now you got a stinky attitude. So now both of you are in the fucking house and ain't no love circulating because you got a stink attitude because she popped off stink, right? And now she got a stink attitude because you responded stinkly to her stink attitude. Saving space for somebody is a gift that you can give to other people so you don't have to energetically soak up their shit. And as an empath, you're going to have to learn how to create space for people. You're going to have to learn how to create space for the world. You're going to have to learn how to create space so you are the only one pulling your motherfucking strings. Y'all know when these guys come through, they like to curse, okay? I got one guy in particular that don't mind having a potty mouth. So if you are new to this channel and you cannot take my cursing, then, honey, this is not the place for you. Matter of fact, this might be a good time to read my disclaimer. Because y'all know when I'm pulling these cards, I got to get my disclaimer out, okay? First of all, everything that I'm saying here, okay, my intent is to bring it truthfully, coherently, clearly, within love, okay? That's my first intention. Now, I need you to know the disclaimer of these messages, okay? These messages are not for everyone. So if you're not finna do your work, they ain't for you. And if you made it about 26, 30 minutes in, then I'm sure that you are on the path of doing your work, okay? But if you're ready to click off now, you can, because you're going to have to do some fucking work. You're going to have to look at yourself. You are going to have to start controlling your own life and not allowing people to be the puppeteer. The way to do that is by you understanding how you work first and then how energy works so you can start seeing archetypes and patterns in the atmosphere and navigating the energy. Okay? So disclaimer, these messages are not for everyone because if you're not going to do your work, you're not going to find no value or nothing over here. Okay? So if you over here looking to point the finger at other people, wrong channel. There's enough people doing that shit. Wrong channel. Okay? Access is granted to you based on what you believe or your inner knowing. You cannot get past your belief system or your inner knowing. So if you believe that there is a guy coming in the sky to save you, you will not be able to get past that vibration of belief or inner knowing. Okay? So if your inner knowing is vibrating at, I know there's more to this world and I know that I'm connected to, let's say, other beings from other realms. I know I'm connected to my ancestors and now, you will have access to the other beings and the other realm and your ancestors and your dad that passed away and grandmother passed away. You have access to all of those things. If you believe or if you know you do, you do. That's how this works. Ain't nothing going to be withheld from you once you understand your sovereignty and what you can step into. You first got to give yourself permission, baby, because ain't nobody going to give it to you. Give yourself permission. Okay. The next is you need to know that energy is fluid. So keep what you need, leave what you don't, shelf what you don't understand in case you need to circle on back for some motivation, confirmation, inspiration. Shelf it and then circle on back. And last but not least, I am not your guru. You are your own guru. Okay? I am not your guru. You are your own guru. My one job here is to come and be the beacon of light that I'm destined to be. Just like I'm here to be me. That's my job. I'm here to be my own guru. I cannot take on being nobody's guru. Okay? I cannot take on being nobody's guru. Because some of the shit that I be working on in my own shit, I promise you, I be telling myself, well, if I had known this was gonna go down like this, I probably would have opted out of this experience before I got here. So I understand why you wipe my fucking memory, because I would have said nope, 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 and nope. If I had some precognition about some of the broken hearts and some of the things that I would have to go through, and when people talk about, oh, your soul signed up for this, why the fuck would my soul sign up for this shit? That's the questions I'll be asking myself, right? So I'm glad you didn't tell me before. So you have enough shit going on with yourself for you to even accept, where you don't even need to be in control of nobody else's life. So I'm giving you a way out of how not to take things personally and how you can navigate other people's nasty energy. Okay, so I gave you a scenario how you can handle your partner. I gave you a scenario how you can handle your partner. Let's talk about when you go to work, how you can handle people, right? Because everything is not going to be about your partner and your kids and shit, right? Everything's not going to land in the house. Sometimes you're going to have to give space to people outside the house, right? So how does this work? Okay. All right, and now we're going to use a toxic example, right? So we use an example of your partner just having a bad, shitty day. Just having a bad, shitty day. People have bad, shitty days. You know what happens when, and I don't even want to label it bad, shitty days, because it's really not bad, shitty days. Some people have days where they're energetically overloaded. And they take in more to their space than they should, or they extend themselves past their boundaries, or they don't reinforce their boundaries. So so you may have an overloaded energetic day because you did not distribute your energy wisely and properly. Okay, so you may absolutely have days and experience like that. But once you begin to learn that you can create spaces where people can have, and you don't have to absorb their energy, you don't have to take on, or you don't have to commit yourself, you don't have to save anybody, you don't have to tell nobody about themselves, you don't have to check nobody. Some things you don't have to give energy to. All right, so okay, we back at the job, right? So you at work, you got a nasty ass coworker, okay, just a nasty ass coworker. All right. And you walk up to this coworker and you say, hey, good morning, such and such and such and such and such and such and such, can I have that report? I know that it's not, it was due yesterday and we were a little busy, but I need to go ahead and wrap up this final email. So, if you could just give me that report as soon as possible. Well, you're going to have to give me a second because I'm already having a bad day and I just don't even know, like, there's just so much negative vibe going on here. I don't even understand how you didn't, you could have sent me an email. You didn't even have to come over to my desk and ask me. I'll get it done when I get it done. Don't everybody wake up and, everything is peaches and roses. Some people actually got shit to do before they get up in here. Like giving you the whole ass to kiss. Guess what? Do you know you don't got to take none of that personal? From the moment she told you that everybody don't wake up where it's sunshine and roses and they having a happy day, right? And people got shit going on, you create a space for her or him and you let them sit there. You don't got to meet them then. You don't got to meet them then. So that means moving forward, you don't got to walk over to their cubicle no more. You can politely send that email. So which is even better because now you got a timestamp on some shit, right? Now you got a timestamp on some shit. So if the report is due at 11 and you timestamp it at 10 when it was, you timestamped and sent that email at 9 when you first came in, right? When you would have walked over and tapped on the shoulder and politely just reminded her, right? Now I'm finna let you sit in your space. So let me go on and type this information on here, put this timestamp on there at 9. So when the boss circled back at 11 and didn't want to know why you don't have everything you need for that report, because you allow that person to sit in their space. You now have a timestamp that you requested this information from ... at 9 a.m. And in your email it says that, this was supposed to be handed in yesterday. So you now know how to move forward with this person. When you're not walking around anxious, you can't send no report out because they have not given you their portion of what's needed for the report. So what you do at 11 when your supervisor, your boss comes around talking about where that report at? Oh, okay. Timestamp. Hi, Carol. I know you requested about the report today that was due at 11 a.m. today. I did reach out to such and such, as you can see the email chain below, okay, in reference to the report. I'm quite not sure what's going on that end, I'm not quite sure about the workflow on such and such's end. But once such and such, sends over such and such for the report, I'll be sure to make sure immediately you have it. You let them sit in their motherfucking space. So, and I'm telling you this because I'm a Scorpio, right? So if I know I got a report due at 11 and you were supposed to get me that information by 9 o'clock, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm one of those people that probably gonna show up at your desk at 8:45 asking you for where that report at. Right? That's the old version of me. Probably showing up at your desk at 8:45 because I want to know where that report at. You holding up my work. So I'm probably going to show up. So the old version of me would not probably have given you space for you to have whatever it is you have. No, the old version of me would have showed up at 8:45 wanting to know why my report was not sent yesterday. And then if you give me an attitude, the old version of me would have not given you space. I would have politely asked you, well, if you don't like your fucking job, you probably might want to find something to do. The old version of me. The old version of me would not have cared to create a space for you to have the fucked up day that you said you want to have. The old version of me would have given you some more shit to have a fucked up day. I would have added more shit to your fucked up day. Oh, you want more fucked up shit on your plate? Here you go. The immature version of me would not have cared. The immature version of me would not have compassion in the way that I needed to, right? The immature version of me would not have, listen, I'm just saying, y'all. This walk is not about anybody else. This walk is about yourself. It's saying, this card says, drama camouflage. Embrace the journey. Be a chameleon. Adapt and thrive. Learn to give people the fucking space they need. Learn to do that. I know someone in my life. I love him dearly. Ooh, I love him dearly. Okay. We've been friends for a really, really long time. I love him dearly. And every time I speak to this particular friend, they loop. It's the same conversation. It's the same problems. And oftentimes, it's the same person because they've been in the same situation for a really long time. So oftentimes, the complaint is about the same person. Right? And I have gotten to the point now where I have created space for that person. So when they call me, I no longer try to talk them off of a ledge. I no longer try to get them to see a perspective from a different side. I no longer try to get them, to maybe come over and read the room or have more compassion and see where they may be the person in this situation that may not be aligned, who's thinking or emotions may be off. I'm not in a position anymore where I am going to try to make you see something that you don't even believe is there, because I've had enough conversations and I'm now in the place where I don't have to take on your energy. I can just save space for you to let you have it. So when my friend calls me now and they're complaining about the same thing that we've been talking about for maybe close to 10 years now. Same thing, same issue. The same fucking issue for close to 10 years now. I now, and I remember even like 6 months ago, I would get so upset and I would just say, you are fucking looping and you're not fucking, no, I'm not doing this with you. You looping. I will not loop with you. I will not fucking loop with you. You will not pull my energy. I will not loop with you. I remember I would get so angry even up to 6 months ago because you bring me into your loop section. I'm not looping with you. You know what I do now? Or what I started doing? 6 months ago, I started telling him, well, You are absolutely entitled to have that experience. You are absolutely entitled to have that experience. See, because you just sat here and told me how wonderful this person has been to you in the time of need. You just sat here and said, told me that this one person did so much for you in their time of need. But in the flip side to this, because you're looping, you're still going to turn around in the same voice in the same conversation to let me know how much this person ain't shit. It can't be two things, all right? It can't be two things. How can this person do so much for you and then you turn around and you tell me that this person ain't shit? But I know what the root is, right? Oh, dropped my phone, y'all. I knew part of the root is you don't think you're worthy of love. So you've been trying to sabotage every relationship, everything good that has come into your experience. You fucking find something wrong with it and you sabotage it. But I can't keep telling you that. I can't keep telling you that. Because at some point, I have to ask myself, how much energetically am I going to take in? Am I going to sit on the phone with you for an hour and a half of you talking about the same type of archetypal energy, maybe with a different face or a different person, but it's the same fucking energy that we've been talking about for damn near close to 10 years. So now I let you have your space. Go sit in that. Go sit in that betrayal. Go sit in that toxicity. Because what I have learned is not everybody wants to be saved. And what I have learned is truth needs no external validation, but it will give you external verification. It will. And that verification is going to be coming through your experiences, your life, your money, your love, your children, your friendships, your partnerships, your situationships. Don't think that you can get into any situation and protect your heart, right? And don't ask somebody else to do that. Don't think you can get into a situation where you want to be loved, but you don't want to give love back. No, the fucking universe is going to reflect right back to you what you're putting out. It's going to reflect back to you your truth. You find somebody that loves the fucking smelly ass drawers that you wear. You find somebody to love you unconditionally because you don't love yourself unconditionally. Guess what? You do things unconsciously to sabotage that love because you don't have that love within yourself. Self-worth is a real motherfucking thing, y'all. And I could speak very, 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 very clearly and concise on that topic because I had to walk through some shit in that area. Okay? So I'm telling you right now, remember how I always talk about don't allow yourself to become other people's puppets? I can't say it any clearer in this card. Pull the strings of your own life and not allow people to pull your strings. Create the space for people to sit in their bullshit if they need to. And for some of you, creating space is going to mean pulling back and taking away your energy. That's what I had to do for my friend. I didn't stop answering the calls, but I no longer gave my energy or attention to the loops. I no longer did. And then you wanted it to know what started happening. They started to call me less and less and less and less and less. And now I probably hear from them once every 3 months. I was speaking to this person, especially after my heartbreak last year. I was pretty much speaking to this person every day. Up until maybe about 6 months ago. I've known them for almost 10 years. And for almost 10 years, it's been the same loop, the same story, the same sad story. And when they retell the stories, and let me just say this right now, okay? Women is not the only one that retell stories in pain. I told y'all about the story I heard about, family member telling a story about being cheated on. And they retold the story with so much, you could feel the heartbreak. And then at the end of the story, they told you that shit happened 30 years ago. But the way she retold the story felt like it just fucking happened last week. Men do that thing too. The way that he retold the story, you won't think that this just happened. This shit happened 15, 10 years ago. You would think that this shit just happened last week. I'm going to leave you with this. I wrote this poem over 15 years ago when I started my journey. I wrote this poem. And I started my journey, really started my spiritual journey, going back into researching and grounding and loving myself. I want to say maybe 2010. But full-fledged, started going down the rabbit hole in 2012. Oh, that reminds me. We need to talk about that, y'all. We need to talk about the mirror energy. Let me write that down. Mirror energy, because it's coming up. We got mirror energy from 2012, mirror in 2021, and we're going to have mirror energy coming up from 2023. That mirror energy is going to be 2032. Okay? So, we're going to take a look at those. I got to do a whole video on that because there's a channel message for that too. Okay, so let me just go ahead and I want to leave you with this poem that I wrote over 15 years ago. It's called The Conversation. The Conversation. She sat me down to talk to me. And as I looked her in her eyes, she said, "This conversation is long overdue." I could tell by the look in her eyes that statement came from a place of love. It was like she could feel the heaviness of my heart. She began by saying, "I am a woman filled with divine love and insight, and one who seeks truth and understanding in all things. And these secrets that I share with you, you must share with all who would listen. For those who have an ear, they will hear. Beloved, challenges are only here to strengthen and prepare you for a new day. So you must live your life to understand the lessons from your pen. For that will be the sign that your spirit is awakening." As she uttered those words, the tears started to roll down my face. It was as if I needed permission to release the tears that I've learned to keep bottled and suppressed for so long. And she whispered, "Cry loudly if you need to. Let the rain pour, for it will fill the well in which you draw your strength. For it is no accident that your tears are salty. For you are the salt of the world, and the tears that you shed is only to bring flavor to the understanding from within." She continued to speak in a soft voice that ministered to my aching heart, and she said, "Beloved, pain was never meant to hold you back or oppress you. But just like childbirth, pain signals the proof of life waiting to be birthed first in you and then through you. The tears that you've cried will give birth to the person you're destined to be. In this ever so present moment, you are perfect, you are whole, and you are complete in every way. So you cry loudly if you need to. Let the rain pour. Choose not to get stuck in your mistakes. However, you learn to go back and take the lessons that you learned, and you simply apply them the next time around." She continued, "People are going to talk because that's what people do. Your job, however, is simple. All you have to learn to do is just be you. Remember, it is equally as important not only to give love, but you must be open to receive love. For the love that shines through you is to light the path of your journey from within." With a knowingness in her voice, she said, "In life, not everyone congratulates. And love, baby, love is not something everyone was taught to appreciate. But your love will liberate. So you cry loudly if you need to. Let the rain pour. Live always with a forgiving heart. For unforgiveness does not harm those that have hurt you. However, it corrodes your heart, leaving you angry, bitter, and stuck. And beloved, others you can't control. Also, remember that truth is not always subject to what you can see with your natural eyes. But truth is a knowing from within, and although sometimes it's hard to explain, your truth, regardless of what others say, should always be full with possibilities and should never change. Know that it is not always as important to get caught up in the details, but the bigger picture, however, should be your aim. So you be still and know, for baby, distractions, they will come. So you cry loudly if you need to. You let the rain pour, for it will fill the well in which you draw your strength. For this is the appointed time for your light to shine. As I looked in the mirror and I wiped the tears from my eyes, I heard a voice whisper from within, "Now I rise." Sit with that poem. Think about what we just spoke about for the past 45 minutes, y'all. It's time to show your true colors so you can find your tribe. But that first starts with you being able to see who you truly are. I love you much. And I hope this message was received in truth, love, clarity, and coherence. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. I'm so happy I'm back. All right, so y'all know the deal, right? You want to go ahead and be kind to yourself. Why? Because you absolutely fucking should, okay? And you want to be kind to somebody else, not because they deserve it, because you're powerful and you can. All right, I love you much. I'm going to see you in the next transmission. Bye, my loves.